Hello, welcome everyone. This is Michael Sliwinski with the Proactive Magazine interview with Scott Belsky. Hello, Scott.
Hello.
Great to meet you. And today we'll talk about productivity and about making everything actionable and, getting stuff done.
Making ideas happen.
Making ideas happen. Making ideas happen. Scott is the author of the book, Making Ideas Happen, and he's making ideas happen.
Trying. In improv comedy, in the notion of improvisation, they say that you never answer with no. You always say yes and, or yes, it's always a yes and or yes but.
Okay.
It's never no, because you always want to build upon what was said. And I think it's the same thing in a situation where you say to someone, here's what we want to do. And rather than them saying, no, we can't do it, they should say, yeah, I think it's a great idea. And I think that what we would have to do is get better servers, or we would have to, there always has to be a counter solution rather than just a complaint. And I think that's kind of the atmosphere you want to have an innovative team. So I think that the thing I encourage people to do is always break down every issue into its littlest components. Oh, legal says we can't do it, or the computer guys say we can't do it. Oh, well, what exactly can't be done? Okay. Oh, well, there's a law that says this. Oh, well, does anyone else have a similar problem where we could see how they solve it? What do our competitors do? I mean, you always have to kind of parse it down. That's what I do with my teams, is whenever I get an answer like that, I'm like, okay, well, I just sort of, the word atomize, you just break it apart into all the littlest pieces. And that's how you end up kind of conquering. Yeah, well, it's annoying in the process to start asking the questions to break it down. To start saying, well, why does legal say no? I don't know. They just said no. Why are you asking me? But these are the questions you have to ask in order to just drill down into the meat of the matter and really solve it. And it's annoying because that's the way organizations work. Is legal says no, so we just don't do it. And it's annoying to sort of push that because it feels like it's not productive. It feels like you're having me do something that's not my job. But what you're really trying to do is break through the friction. You're trying to break through bureaucracy.
About Steve Jobs, there was this quote when he was looking at a prototype car. Mm-hmm. And he said, look, this is the prototype car. But then there was legal, engineering, design. Right. And then there's this. Mm-hmm. Nothing to do with the beautiful car that they they designed in the first place.
Right. It always gets whittled down to, we can't do that rounded corner, but we can do it this way because that's done on another car. And then, we can't use that radio, but we can use this one, which is already in this other car. And before you know it, it looks like the other car. So yeah, it's the fight. It's the fight that all of us must enlist in to drive new ideas forward. And you really can't be satisfied with anything. The truth is I always am proud of myself and my team when we achieve something, but I'm never satisfied with the result. And I think it's a healthy level of dissatisfaction. Whenever I look at the current version of our product, it's like I'm anxious for the next version already. I hate our current product always because I see what it could be, and all I see is the limitations that got in between what we envisioned and what we had. And maybe that's one of the interesting things about Apple is they do so few things that they can really, really drive and get very close to the vision that they had. I was always spending an inordinate amount of time on the things that that I just found were enjoyable versus what I felt needed to be done just to get it done. And that's why I actually hated a lot of school too, is because I was doing some things just to do it, and I just hate doing that. You want to do things because they really drive you. And maybe the thing that we all look for in a career is to do something that really drives us, so we can kind of near the curve of perfection as best as we can. The problem, getting all the decision makers in the room is a great use of time. If it's a decision meeting, if actions are taken or decided upon. I think also sometimes you have to have meetings to generate buy-in, to get people on board with what needs to happen and get people excited about it. But oftentimes we schedule meetings just as a way to keep people connected. and I think that we spend too much time on that sometimes, where it could be a very quick check-in meeting or it could be an email, because the time when you're not in meetings is time that you can take action, and it's very hard in a meeting to actually take action. Am I a doer or a dreamer?
Yeah.
I think I am. I probably identify with the switcher. You know, I'm a dreamer and then a doer and a dreamer and a doer. And I think I suffer from the switchers or the incrementalists' negative tendency, which is I can get too many things off the ground and then realize that one of them has to die in order to make the other one really thrive. And I think even looking back in our business, there were things we were doing in 2006, 2007, 2008 that we don't do anymore. We had to kill. In fact, a lot of the network, that the current Behance product that we have, is actually much simpler than it was 5 or 6 years ago. We eliminated a lot of the major features, groups. Were eliminated. There were a lot of other like sort of settings in the project publishing. A lot of things we just killed over time, rather than the other way around. Yeah, well now it's it's an interesting opportunity that I'm excited about, because now I still run the Behance community part of the business, and then also now we're part of Adobe,
right,
which is a very large company, and it's a company that's thinking more about creative workflow.
Okay.
And Adobe used to always be about the features, the next version of Photoshop, and now there's a mentality in the company of maybe we should focus less on features and more on improving the way that people create, making it easier, making you more connected to your fonts and your colors and all these different things. And if we can improve the workflow itself, then we can really help people make ideas happen. So it actually, I think that the shift in Adobe's thinking very much strongly correlates with my own desire to help creatives get more organized and help them make ideas happen. And so that's why we're a part of Adobe then. I mean, it's because I found a lot of alignment in it, and so did they.
In my company, we don't send emails anymore. We communicate through our application, project and that's personal application. And we always repeat this like a mantra. You have to communicate through tasks, communicate through actions. I mean, we don't communicate just to communicate. We communicate through actions.
I like that.
That's why I really identify with your action bias, because I think this is really important.
I agree. If you can, especially like emails when you send them around, if you do use email, start with the 2 or 3 things that start with verbs that you need. Oftentimes these emails, it's like 5 paragraphs, and at the end it's like the thing that you're asking for. And I think that should always be inverted. You should lead with the actions. In fact, in the subject line of an email, you should put action required, just to make sure that people know that it's actionable.
Yeah. My blog, every year, I'm posting the pictures of my home office. Like every year is different. And my friends used to laugh at me, why would you spend time improving your home office all the time? I mean, this is counterproductive. I'm saying no, because every year I have to refresh it, and then this is what you said today, that keep improving even if it's not broken, right? Why is it important?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the way that we work in our workspace has a tremendous influence over the work itself, obviously. Yet we tend to not even care about it. A lot of people will just go into the desk and take it the way it is and not care what pen they're using, not care what this, not care what that. But when you consider your work as a piece of art, which I think everyone should, why every type of work should be considered someone's art, because there is an art and a science to everything. Then set up your easel and set up your system in a way that really inspires you to do some of your greatest work. So I think it's worth spending energy and time in how you organize. I remember in the beginning of every school season, getting fresh pencils and fresh pens and the new blue sleeve, and you're actually excited for school because of all these new materials. Of course, later on in the year, you're less excited about school. But why are we more excited? It's because we have the new utensils. We're outfitted to do some of our greatest work.
So how do you manage your love for work and your love for your family life? How do you do this?
Well, I mean, I think that people who say that those things need to be completely separated and you should really compartmentalize, it's very idealistic. And I find that all these things blend. I am a person who is very passionate, always committing some percentage of my brain to processing some of the stuff that I'm interested in, and I can't turn that off as hard as I try. And that is especially when you're building something new. there's a degree of uncertainty that you're constantly processing in the back of your head. And it's the price you pay for doing something new.
Right.
If you have a 9-to-5 job where you're just going in and you're clicking a button all day and then you're leaving and you have nothing to worry about, there's a benefit to that, which is you can go home and have 100% capacity to think about other things you're passionate about. It just doesn't, it's not realistic in the entrepreneurial, nor in the creative world. I think that creative artists, designers, there's always a degree of our brains that is processing the work that we're doing. It's just the reality of it. So it's always been a challenge for me, but I think it's a muscle that you exercise over time, and I think I have a pretty good balance. We have some rules in terms of me being home on certain nights, things like that, just to make sure that we can preserve the relationships.
Right. Like for example, I have this designer that when I hired him, one of the things, he doesn't know that, until he hears that, but he thinks I like him because he's a really good designer, but I like him even more because he challenges me all of the time, and he really pulls the rope and makes me think like he thinks.
Right.
That's why when we both agree, we're just both scared. Why would you?
Right. Yeah, you want to have the challenge. And I think that it's a very important thing to recognize that when you're making a decision, you want to explore the full terrain of possibility, and that you only have one section of that in your brain.
Yeah.
And so the idea is, can you surround yourself with people who cover the rest of the territory? And the problem is we typically want to hire or work with people that are just like us. We want to have people who have the same ideas that we do, but because it's easier.
Back in the back, right?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, let's do that. But really, you want. I also, like you, I gain from working with people that challenge me and say, I have a different way of doing it, because it intrigues me. It makes the job more interesting.
Definitely.
So, well, thank you guys.
Thanks, Scott.
Great question.